Hi everyone, you ready to take your content, your blog post to the next stage, the next level? Then this video is for you. I'm Kevin from the Online Visibility Agency, and today we're going to talk about what more can you put in a blog post that's going to take it from it's okay to wow, this is pretty amazing. And yeah, it does take some effort, but sometimes putting that extra effort in, and I'm not saying you should do this for every single blog post you create, but those real special ones, you know, those ones that you've slaved over for a while, it's got that real critical core information in it that you really want to get noticed, then they're the ones that you need to highlight and go, I'm going to go the extra mile on this and add this in. So I'm going to go through three things today that you can think about, that you can add in, and none of them are particularly difficult to do, but they do take some consideration, and they will take that 1,500 word, 2,000, 2,500 word block of content and turn it into something that you go, you know what, actually, this is really quite amazing. So the first one we're going to look at is we're going to look at content upgrades. Now, this may be one of the more difficult to implement if you don't have the right software, but still it's a really good way of taking that up a notch. So a content upgrade, what does it mean? You write a blog post, you say, to see the rest of this content, subscribe here, share here. It's one of those where you get people to take an action of some description to unlock the next piece of content. And they're really powerful because people are often curious as to thinking, well, what is this next part of what they're talking about? And people get really quite excited at that opportunity. And we encourage them. The share option is a real simple one. Share it on LinkedIn, share it on Facebook, and it unlocks it because it tracks it. And then you give them and make sure it's really good value after that. If it's a load of rubbish, then they're never going to share your stuff again. But if it's really, really good, then they're going to go, you know what, that was really worthwhile. So that's a really good one. The next one that you can do, and these are really easy to create nowadays. Years ago when we started, they were hard. You had to go into PowerPoint and create them from scratch, and people sold all sorts of templates for Adobe, and they took hours and hours and weeks of grafting to try and make something that looked half decent. But nowadays you can do it in Canva. There's a gazillion templates in there is to create an infographic. So an infographic takes a piece of content, a process, maybe a timeline, some facts, maybe even use it as a summary, something like that, and turns it into an image format. They're normally quite long and thin. They don't have to be. I've seen square ones that are just as good, but it's a concise piece of content. It's a visual piece of content that you can add into a blog post. It breaks up that text and people can look at it and immediately get what it is you're doing. So if you've written a 10-point process, for example, and you want to summarize it for people so they can get a quick snapshot of it, that's a really great way of doing it. If you're taking them down a process of achievement of something, then you can take them down a journey type of infographic. So there's lots of different ways of using them, and always are really helpful. People often don't just understand and comprehend via text. They need to see some form of imagery as well. And of course, we do have images on our blog posts as standard. I'm not even going to mention that, because if you're not putting an image with your blog post, you need certainly one for social sharing, but normally an extra image in there as a bulk standard image is always advisable. But infographics are really, really great, and they will help you make that piece of content go from it's pretty good to it's pretty spectacular. And the last one is a video. Videos are really good because people, you don't have to be on screen with a video, right? Let's be clear about this. If you're really nervous about being on screen, you don't want to be your face plastered all over whatever it is you're doing, you can do it over slides. You can create slide decks in Canva again. I believe you can even record it in Canva nowadays, or certainly in PowerPoint, and you can record and create a video, preferably with audio. If it hasn't got audio, it's a little bit, but depending on what you're doing, depends on how you do it. Think along the same lines of, if you're going to do slides like the infographic, but with different slides as you go through and talk them through it, maybe that's really quite useful. Or you could do a video with extra bits of content in it, just being a bit more relaxed and open about what it is you're trying to convey through your blog post. And then you can potentially even extract that audio and stick that in as a bonus. So there are 3 ways that will really help you. And let's just throw an extra one in just for good measure. And that is turning your blog post into an actual audio. And there is software out there that will allow you to do this. You can just sit there with a voice recorder if you don't have that on your phone and just talk it into that, download it and add it onto your post as a playable audio track. There's lots of different ways of doing it. And again, if you don't want to do it yourself, there's all these sorts of audio apps now that you can type the text in. So just copy paste, put it in, and it will put some fancy voice over it for you. And then you can just embed that into your blog post. But adding additional content into your blog posts is a really worthwhile exercise, and your readers will be grateful you've gone to the extra effort. Now, remember what I said right at the beginning, you don't have to do this for every single post. Sometimes blog post content just needs to be the words that you've written, and that forms a core strategy for what you're doing. But now and again, adding that extra bit in, going that extra mile, but don't use it as a reason for procrastination, sets you above your competition. And remember, if you want to get more tips, tricks, training and advice and support, then of course the businessbloggingchallenge.com is where you need to be. It's a free training that we've been running for a gazillion years, and you're more than welcome to come and jump in, and you'll get added into our Facebook support group as well. So you're not on your own doing this if you don't want to be. If you want to go out on your own and just take these tips and run with it, then off you go. But if you want our support for free, businessbloggingchallenge.com. We'll see you on the inside.